Sanguine Deposit. This was amazing. I love how the filmmakers did this in black and white, and they decided to make it look like a silent film from the early 1900s. They did such a great job with that. The music reflected that era, the costuming reflected that era, the effects that they put on the film and on the cinematography reflected that era, but also the cinematographer knew how to shoot for something that was black and white. They got all of those tones beautifully created. Story-wise, fantastic. Beginning, middle, and end, they had their antagonist and protagonist, and their antagonist we were following throughout this and really starting to hate this guy by the end of the film, and our protagonist ends up being kind of an anti-hero as well. So I thought that this was written really well. The dialogue cards that they did that also made it seem like a very early 1900s film. Brilliant. Yeah, great job on this.
In Deposit, okay, this was very fun. It's very dark because it's very twisted. The story is very effed up, but it's very fun at the same time. It kind of reminded me to the American horror series. I don't know why, but it did. Maybe it's because of the style. The visual style is very good. I mean, it's not so advanced on its editing stuff or anything, but it has a lot of charm, an old-fashioned charm that comes with the color and the way the image looks, and the performances are very, kind of exaggerated in a good way, and it's very twisted. I like that there was no actual dialogues, but that instead we see what the characters are saying, like in these old silent films. And the main performance was very good. This guy was very convincing. I like it. His story. I mean, he's a terrible human being, but by the end of it, he gets what he deserves in a way, and he was so confident and so cocky that he was going to get away with what he wanted to do, and he doesn't, and it's kind of satisfying. And the last image in the morgue, I think it was a morgue with the bodies and the number 666 and everything. It's fun. It's full of tiny twisted details that make it a very enjoyable experience. So I think it was a great film. It's very well done, a very original concept, and it's full of great performances and a very cool visual element. So thank you very much for sending it, and best of luck with it.
The filmmakers really understand silent film with this, but they put it in modern notions. Silent films didn't have cussing and usually not graphic murder. But this was really well done. The filmmakers, when I say they understand silent filmmaking, I mean they casted people who could do the perfect overacting that silent film actors used to do, where it was exaggerated yet humorous at the same time. It was kind of like that Buster Keaton type of humor, a little bit, even though it was supposed to be a horror film, because the guy was just that overly exaggerated. It made it really worth it. It's the art cards, some of the techniques, even the way they flip the calendar with the clock over it and the guy over it and everything else. It's all the classic filmmaking techniques of silent film that we don't ever see anymore. We don't really see many silent films anymore, and these people, the people who made this, are really, really great at what they did, because they made a very convincing silent film that is a nod to the old silent films.
This silent horror short gives us this tale of bad versus bad. You know, we get this guy who is an unlikable character. We're not necessarily rooting for him and for him to succeed. It's not an anti-hero sort of situation. We aren't being received with this save the cat moment almost. But there's a serial killer on the loose despite all of this happening. And so you're seeing these series of incidents that really just go for us to not really hope for this character. Like, we, in a sense, want this character to get caught or get caught up in something. And so when he unfortunately does, we sort of feel satisfied despite the demise ending that this character faces, because we've built up this like resilience of what not to like about him.